What's up, math scholars and math haters? This is Mr. W. Today we're going to tackle question 15 in the 7th grade math questions that North Carolina released this past school year. The question tells us that Kyle bought some number, which right now we're calling X, pencils. He paid $1.24, including tax, per pencil. He gave the cashier $20 and received $5.12 in change. And we're trying to figure out how many pencils Kyle purchased. There's going to be a lot of translating in this problem, but we're also going to have to divide decimals. This is the first problem where, and I hope the only problem where we would have to divide decimals without a calculator, but we're going to be okay. There's a nice little trick for this that I really like to use, and we should be fine. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with some translating. I will not use my black marker for this. I'm going to start by looking at the word per, and I'm going to see that it's $1.24 per pencil, so I know that $1.24 times the number of pencils that Kyle bought equals how much money he paid in total. Not the $1.24, but in total. The next thing I'll observe is this part. He gave the cashier $20 and received $5.12 in change. Now, if you go to the grocery store or something like that and you pay cash, cash is being used less and less nowadays, but I still use it sometimes, mostly at Goodwill, so I'll use Goodwill as an example. If I go to Goodwill and I buy something and it costs $1.60 and I pay $2 for it, they're going to give me 40 cents in change. So to put this in words, the amount that I paid plus the change that I'm going to get has to equal how much money I gave the cashier. Whether it's that I paid $1.60 for a $2 item and got 40 cents in change, or whether it's the situation up here where, to use this sentence once again, where he paid some amount of money, got $5.12 in change, and we know he paid 20 even. Now it's at this point that we have two number sentences. We have two things we don't know, but we can use this sentence first to find out how much money Kyle paid. Once we know how much he paid, we can go ahead and use that to figure out how many pencils he got. So this is going to be a doozy from here on out. We've already done a lot of background work, but I'm going to have to use the magic of editing to make all of this disappear. Okay, ta-da. So now we'll use this number sentence. How much he paid plus $5.12 equals $20. There's a subtraction trick that I usually like to use here that I'll go ahead and replicate here. And basically it goes like this. First, I'm going to take this and translate it. In fact, let me go ahead and write that up here. I'll use fact families or ideas of equations. Either way, I'll end up with the same thing. We can find out how much money Kyle paid by taking $20 and subtracting $5.12 from that. So I'm going to start by subtracting $5. $20 minus $5 is just going to give me $15. Next, so I'm done with my $5. I subtract 10 cents from that. Now this is like 150 dimes minus 1 dime. It gives me 149 dimes. So that's $14.90. Gets rid of that. And now I subtract, and y'all can't see any of that. Okay, $20 minus $5 gives me $15. $15 minus 1 dime gives me $14.90. That's like 150 dimes minus 1 dime. Gives me 149 dimes. And now we subtract 2 pennies from 90 pennies. That gives us, and I'll go ahead and actually write that up here, $14.88. 90 pennies minus 2 pennies gives me 88 pennies. And again, if there's a better trick that you like to use for subtraction, I kind of made this one up so that I could go left to right, because I know that right to left can be a little confusing for some people. But if there's a more, if there's an easier way that you like to do subtractions, go for it. You should get the same answer if you do it correctly. Anyway, I now know that I paid $14.88 for some number of pencils. So this is now how much I paid. And now I'm going to go back to this number sentence and say that $1.24 times the number of pencils is going to give me that $14.88. And I'll use fact families again. And in fact, I'll go ahead, or fact families, equations, however you want to think of it. I will divide by 124, and these go away. It just leaves me with the number of pencils. And I'm going to need to take 1488 divided by 124 to find that. Now I'm going to set up this division of decimals problem and then show us the trick that I like to use for this. All right. So 1488 divided by 124. Now here, I'm going to go ahead and say that I know there was a decimal point here, but if I count the number of decimal places that I have to go to hit the end of this number, that's 1, 2, and 1, 2. The trick is that when dividing decimals, if I ignore the same number of decimal places in my divisor on the outside and my dividend on the inside, then that is actually going to give me the same answer as if I had kept the decimal places there. And I know that I can do this because there was a decimal here, 1, 2 places, 1, 2 places. If I knock out the decimal, I'm ignoring the same number of places, and I know that this is going to get me the same answer. So let's go ahead and do this division problem. Now that we are just working with numbers and we know we'll get the same answer as if we were working with the decimals we started with. I'm going to look at 124 and ask, does 124 go into 1,000? It doesn't. Does 124 go into 14 hundreds? Still doesn't. Does 124 go into 148 tens? And that answer is actually yes. So now that I know that 124 goes into 148, it's not going to go more than once, and I can tell because my first digit of each of these numbers is the same. So I will subtract my 124 tens. So that's 100 minus 100 gives me nothing. 4 tens minus 2 tens gives me 2 tens. 8 ones minus 4 ones gives me 4 ones. So now I'm left with a 24 here. It's at this point that I bring down my 8. So now I'm seeing how many times 124, let me scoot this up, can go into 248 ones. 4 tens minus 2 tens gave us 2 tens. 8 ones minus 4 ones gave us 4 ones. So I'm comparing 124 to 248. Let me just go ahead and multiply this by 2 very quickly to confirm my suspicions. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. 248, 248. That tells me that 12 is the answer to this monstrosity of a problem. So now all that's left is for me to go ahead and put it into the gridded response. So I'm going to find my boxes. Every digit gets its own box, and underneath each digit, I find the bubble, and I need to bubble it in. So 12 takes up 2 boxes, 10's place and 1's place. I find the 1 bubble under the 1, the 2 bubble under the 2, I bubble those in, and that's it. I am finally done with this monstrosity of a question. In fact, I'm going to just zoom it out, scooch the board back a little bit so you can see all the work that we had to do to get here.